This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Chapter 4 of Prompt Engineering. Get 10x more from AI. Designing effective system prompts. In this chapter, you'll learn: explain the role of system prompts in AI configuration. Let's dive in. Your system prompt might be the highest leverage part of your AI stack, and the one you've spent the least time on. A language model can behave like a kind tutor in one app and a ruthless auditor in another, without changing weights at all. The only difference? Those first few lines. Duolingo found that a tiny 120 token tweak, telling the model exactly which language proficiency band to target, boosted user satisfaction by 18%. Anthropic cut harmful outputs by 30% just by tightening written rules of conduct. Those aren't model changes, they're prompt design wins. In this episode, we'll treat the system prompt as a living spec, something you can architect, test, and iterate, not a one-off blob of instructions you write once and forget. We'll zoom in on 4 properties of robust system prompts: how they encode success metrics, how they carve out a clear boundary of responsibility, how they layer different types of guidance, and how they come with built-in tests so you know when they fail. Think of it as moving from clever wording to an operating manual you can defend to your team and improve every sprint. Most teams still treat that governing charter as an afterthought, a quick brain dump of style notes, disclaimers, and edge cases. Then they're surprised when the model behaves like a distracted intern, sometimes brilliant, often inconsistent, rarely predictable. The opportunity is to treat the system prompt like production code, version-controlled, reviewed, and profiled for performance. It lives alongside your RAG pipelines, safety filters, and business logic, not above them as a static incantation. In this episode, we'll unpack how to design prompts that can evolve as your product, risks, and users do. Start with the uncomfortable truth. Most system prompts are just tidy-sounding wish lists. Be helpful, be safe, be concise. None of that tells the model what success looks like in your product, with your users, under your constraints. To move beyond that, treat the prompt as a space where you wire concrete trade-offs into words. For example, specifying prioritize factual accuracy over creativity when they conflict yields a very different behavior from never say I don't know, always propose at least one plausible option. Both are clear. Only one may fit a medical triage chatbot. You're not just describing style, you're encoding product bets. Next, scope isn't only about topics, it's about modes. The same model can alternate between explainer, critic, and planner within one conversation if you reserve explicit gears in the system text. When a user asks for feedback, switch to critique mode. Be direct, reference concrete lines, and quantify confidence. Now you have a controllable dial instead of vague politeness instructions that leak into every turn. Layering is where most prompts collapse. Teams mash policy, persona, and task into one paragraph, then struggle to debug. A more resilient pattern is to separate blocks with visible headers and stable ordering, so you can A/B just the persona slice without touching policy. That's also where you integrate other alignment tools. One layer can assume RAG is available and specify how to behave when retrieved documents contradict prior answers. Defer to the newest source. Announce the correction explicitly. Testability, finally, means writing the seed of your evals into the prompt itself. If your red team suite checks for overconfident hallucinations, encode, when evidence is missing, respond with a clear, unknown statement before offering hypotheses. Now every failed test points to a concrete line you can adjust, not a mysterious model whim. The through line: you're shaping decisions under ambiguity, not polishing copy. The more precisely you express those decisions in the system text, the less you'll rely on luck, or yet another model upgrade, to get the behavior you need. A useful way to stress test your design is to map it onto concrete roles. For a support bot, write 3 contrasting mini charters. one optimized for handle time, one for customer delight, one for risk avoidance. Then skim a week of real tickets and mark which charter you wish had been active for each case. The gaps you see. We over-apologize here, under-escalate there. Point directly to clauses your current prompt is missing. You can also draft edge scene snippets, 5-line dialogues that represent the ugliest trade-offs your product faces. Refund disputes, ambiguous legal questions, upset power users. Attach each scene to a short rubric: what a perfect answer would protect, what it may sacrifice. As you revise text, keep rerunning those scenes and score the outputs against the rubrics. A single sentence like, escalate whenever monetary loss exceeds X, often falls out of watching the model mishandle the same scene in 3 slightly different ways. System text is quietly turning into a compliance surface. As audits mature, you may need versioned prompt diffs the way you track schema changes. Who changed what rule, when, and with which downstream incidents? Dynamic variants, tuned per user, region, or risk tier, will raise tough questions. Does a sales-optimized configuration bias outcomes? Expect tooling that can lint prompts, flag conflicting clauses, and simulate worst-case behaviors before deployment. Treat this text less like sacred law and more like a sketchbook. Version it, annotate it with why, and let real incidents reshape it. Over time, you'll notice patterns. Certain clauses quietly retire entire bug classes, others invite loopholes. Follow those threads and your prompt spec becomes an evolving hypothesis about how your product should think. Before next week, ask yourself, 1. If I rewrote my main system prompt today, what exact behaviors, for example, always ask for missing constraints, never guess numbers, summarize options before deciding, would I explicitly bake in, and where am I currently relying on the model to just figure it out? 2. Looking at one real task I do often, like drafting emails, analyzing docs, or coding, how could I turn my messy, one-shot instructions into a reusable, structured system prompt with clear sections like role, constraints, style, edge cases, and examples? 3. When my AI responses recently went off the rails, what exact piece of my system prompt failed? Missing guardrails, unclear priority, no negative examples. And how could I rewrite 2 lines of that prompt today to prevent the same failure from happening again? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!